What up, guys? What up? What up? Just getting a few things set up and we'll get started, man. Let's see. So we got a few things, man. What was I going to talk about, man? There's something I want to talk about first, but either way, we're going to be talking about AWS stuff. So it's going to be fun. Let's see. Damn, let me see. Hold up. So we're about to get started in a minute, guys. They're trying to get a few things set up. Then we'll get started. Hopefully all of y'all doing good, man. Have yourself a good weekend. A good getting ready for the weekend, better yet. All right, cool. Cool. I'm a few minutes late, but that's fine, guys. We'll get started in a few. Trying to get a few things set up. Dude, I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Been real busy. It's always good. I feel whenever I'm busy and productive. Been working on a few projects. Been knocked out a few YouTube videos this week. So my schedule for videos probably, I think what's realistic, especially right now that I've been kind of busy. There's a few up and down weeks where maybe I'm not as busy. And of course, during those weeks, that's when I'm trying to knock out any more videos. But even when I'm pretty busy, I should still be able to knock out at least 3 videos. So that's the plan. At the minimum, 3 a week. But there'll be some cases that probably be able to knock out 4, 5 videos a week, right? So it just kind of depends. But yeah, that's something that I'm trying to I've been doing a little bit better, but I'm trying to make sure to keep something consistent, right, on the videos. There's a few things that I'm working. Kind of mentioned it before in other streams. I'm kind of working behind the scenes on getting something set up. So probably in the next week or two, I'll be getting a Discord server set up. You know, pretty much it kind of relates to this channel. And that would be a place where people could go, right? And ultimately try to build a community where kind of get some assistance, get some help. Start building a small little team. So, you know, I want to be, you know, I'm gonna be taking applications of anybody who wants to kind of be part of that team, you know, and kind of see how we build that team up, right? And and there's a lot more other stuff too, man. And there's things that I need to get better organized as well. There's things I want to make more transparent. For example, we started getting a lot of requests of different videos to make. Probably put something together where it's kind of transparent. Like, hey, here's a list of all the requests we're getting of certain topics that people are requesting for videos. And then like that, as we kind of build a small team, that small team will kind of help on whatever video that we're going to be doing, to kind of help, not on the video side to make the video, but more so to do some of the testing, because there's a lot of testing required, right? Somebody says, hey, can you help me out with this issue? I want to solve this problem. You gotta code it up, test it out, make sure that it functions, and things of that nature, right? And then ultimately, once that's tested out, because that's the way I do my videos today. Anytime I get a request of something, there's some stuff that I may know, or but there's some stuff that I just don't know. So I got to do research. As I do research, I'll figure things out. I test things out. Then ultimately, once I test it out and everything has been successful, I make a video of it, and I'm able to go to the video kind of from beginning to end. If I didn't do it that way, if I would have just like, you know what, I'm gonna make a video over this topic, and I did no testing, dude, I would be recording so much because I would have to stop, not even stop, but just in the middle of reading video, maybe do some research, do testing. Oh, this doesn't work. All right, what works? Dig in, read the documentation on certain packages, things of that nature, right? That's all part of the testing process, which sometimes could be 2, 3, 4 hours, right? So you do that first. Once you do that, test it out, put a code sample, then that's when I go back and I make a video, right? So that's kind of like the way I do it today anyways. But yeah, guys, we're going to be talking AWS. And I had a viewer that reached out. Let's see. All right, cool. I had a viewer that reached out on my YouTube channel. It pretty much asked, hey, can you make a video? He provided some sample files, and pretty much what he asked was, I want to have 2 buckets. Just call it bucket A and bucket B in AWS. And we're gonna, for bucket A, any file that get dropped in there, we want it to have an ETL job and ultimately load it to Redshift. And there we go, Python developers here. What up, man? What up? What up? What tequila, sir? So I'm actually because I got kind of behind. I got kind of busy today, so I didn't get to go to the store. But I'm gonna be sipping my good old dependable, my bunny, right? The bunny tequila. So this is the Sweato is the name of it. So this is my go-to tequila. Big fan of it. Love it. Has that lime type taste to it, which is awesome. So, how about yourself, man? How's everything going? Had yourself got any plans for this weekend? Gonna do anything special? Relax? So let's see. So do you have the chat on here? Just FYI, you'll see the chat as messages pop up, because I am streaming on Twitch and YouTube. So if there's any messages that come in from Twitch, people from YouTube can see those messages as well. Of course, you won't see it in the chat on YouTube, but you'll see it on my screen either way. So can we discuss the update in Redshift, old data, new data, bucket? Yeah, we could do that for sure. So let me go ahead and share my screen, and we'll kind of go through that process. Cool. So I got the file that you provided. So let's take a look at it real quick. I believe you said file 1 and file 2, right? I think these are the 2 files that you kind of mentioned that you want to go under the same bucket. Okay, cool. So in this case, we're gonna use glue. We'll use glue, and I'll kind of show you on the process, and it'll be no, it's Iron Man. So not Deadpool, but Iron Man shirt. Yeah, it's kind of hard to tell. Got the Iron Man shirt on today. Had to wear something comfy. Talking about shirts, I actually got a shirt coming that I made. I'll show you real quick. I showed people on my Twitch channel the other day. Let me show you real quick. Here's how it looks. Oops, damn, what happened to my design? There it goes, this guy. So this kind of started from a meme on my Twitch channel. Me and another viewer were talking about it. So that's kind of there's a story behind it. So just FYI. But it's a Halo, and then has the Master Chef logo, and then of course in the bottom I need a spatula, because that's Halo, the one of his one of his quotes, I guess, that he says. He doesn't say spatula, he says I need a weapon. So in this case we replace with I need a spatula. So either way, I got this design, did the artwork on it, used my little bit of Photoshop skill that I have to put it together. But yeah, I actually ordered a shirt, and it probably gets, when did they say going to get here? The 22nd maybe? So still another couple of days, sometime next week it'll get here. So, and again, there's a whole story behind that, on how that happened. I'll be back in 10 minutes, need to pick up dinner. Cool, that's fine. So let's kind of walk through the process. So I believe if I read your email correctly, we want to do the first bucket A, which is file 1, and then file 2 we want to replace original records with the new data. So if I look at file 1 and file 2, we have different cells. I'm assuming these are like dollar amounts. They just assume that's what it is. And then you have a category of A, B, and C. And then you have a month, right? Now, based on this, the only key that's different that I'm able to tell it is months. So the way I would take this, like the way this would work is, let's say we inserted this data into the Redshift, right? And then we get this new file 2, after, to process it after. Well, these two here, which is months 5 and 6, these will be inserts, but this month's 1 would actually update this line item here. So instead of being 1,000 in sales, it'd be 60,000. Instead of category being A, it'll be F. Unless you meant it in a different manner, but I'm just kind of going at it based on how it is right now. And this is in order to do a upsert, to do an update, right, on whatever already exists. You got to specify a key value, and the only key value here that happens to be identical is the months. So assuming that no, update the entire row. So it will update the row. So let me kind of show you real quick, just to make sure we're on the same page. Let's see. I only want to see file 2 data, but the first it would show file 1. So if we loaded this file 1 first, it's going to show these 3 lines, right? So that's not an issue. And if we were to process file 2, you're saying to delete all of this data. Just to make sure, you're saying remove all of these lines and replace it with these lines. So really, you just want a drop and replace. You're not trying to do a upsert. You're just trying to it would just be a drop and replace, pretty much. This is the newest file, so keep this data only and disregard all of this data. So I think I understand what you're saying. I think for maybe bucket 2 example that you mentioned, that is where you mentioned where file 3 and file 4 comes in. Insert new rows to Redshift. Maybe that's where I got it a little mixed up. So if I look at file 3 and file 4, we have, so same thing. These are all completely different. So this literally would be, if I understand this correctly, this would be load this data and load this data without doing a replace. Pretty much we're not replacing nothing. But so let me kind of go back. Then this is where I think it's gonna get a little bit tricky. So what you're saying though is both of these are going to all of these files are going to the same table, right? So all 4 files go into one table. Yes, but only using one bucket. File 2 replaces file 1, and automatically the Redshift data also changes. So let me try to think. Okay, so normally in these cases, if we were dealing, I'm trying to think, right? What would be the best approach here? I think in these cases, the thing about it though is if we process file 1, let's say file 1 gets processed today, or let me kind of put in something that's more realistic. Let's say file 1 got processed. Oh, what up, Casey? What up, man? Just saw you jump in. We're just kind of going over some AWS stuff. Let me try to think. So if we were to process, let's say file 1, and then let's say file 1 got processed. Trying to think of a good example. So let's say these are monthly data files, right? And file 1 got processed a month ago. Let's say in August. And then let's say a month later we get file 2. And file 2 is the data for September. And what we want to do here is say, okay, we want to delete file 1 data and replace it with file 2. So normally in this cases, if you're dealing with strictly one table, it literally would be a drop and replace, which is not an issue. I think the caveat here is, okay, well now we're going to have another bucket B, which is going to be file 3. And file 3 we want to load, which is not an issue, to the same table. And then file 4 we want to load to the same table, which again, this is not an issue. I think the challenge is going to be whenever we process file 2, how would we know that what was processed already previously, ultimately, right? That's kind of what it is. What was processed previously to go and delete that data that was originally loaded. Now, the way I have done some stuff similar to this, but the way I have done it where I think it will probably work in your case as well, was let's assume that these sales data is for customer A, right? They just call it customer A, and that's why we want to drop and replace, because customer A sells for 1 month, and then they give us a newer file. And ultimately, we want to replace those cells with customer A, with the newest file they give us. And let's say file 3 and file 4 is customer B, right? So for customer B, these would just be inserts. So the way I have managed this previously, and we could do something similar like that, would be there would be 2 staging tables that I will create. Customer A, let's just call it customer A staging and customer B staging. So customer B, these files here would get loaded to customer B staging table. These files will get loaded to customer A staging table. Now, as they get loaded into 2 tables, there would be a procedure that would ultimately take that data from each table, and it will get loaded into one sales table, you want to call it, right? Like a master sales table. So, we would have customer A sales table, customer B sales table. Data will get loaded in there. Then once it gets loaded in there, we could have procedures that would load both data sets, tables, customer A and customer B data into one sales table. Now in the procedure, that's where we could have logic where for customer A, before we load that data in the staging table over to the sales table, it would actually delete any cell that exists in the sales table for that customer first. And then it will load these sales records, after that. Same thing kind of goes with this. This procedure will literally be we're going to insert. That's it, right? We're going to insert to it. Now, normally I add additional logic, like in my processes that I have done, where I may add logic to try to identify if there's any duplicates, or if I already exist. Let's say because we processed a file multiple times by accident, like the file got dropped in the same bucket over and over again each month, and it's the same file, where we could have logic that way. So I'm trying to think that would be one way. If we go down the other path where we use Redshift Spectrum and we end up querying these files, that works, but it's not going to work if both of these files are dropped into the same bucket, right? So that's what I'm trying to think. In this case, it would be something like if we use Redshift Spectrum. Let's say we create an external table. Normally, when you create an external table, you have to point to a bucket, right? Like one bucket. In this case, we have two buckets. We don't have one. We have more than two. We have more than one bucket. Everything will have to live in one bucket. So if we do have one bucket, and that bucket only contains file 2, 3, and 4, then in theory that would work. And then for file 2, if you ever get like another file, let's say a file to replace this one has to get deleted from that bucket. Then of course you would drop another file in that same bucket to be able to query that data set. But I'm just trying to think of your flow of what makes more sense. If you're going to be getting files, let's say monthly file that you're just going to be getting, they're going to get dropped into the buckets. And that's all you're doing, just dropping, and you want the logic to exist downstream, where maybe the database will, determine, hey, here's the logic for this, delete and replace, or what else? Or like in this case, just go ahead and load the data, do inserts. That would probably be more done on. I'm trying to think, man. I think there's a way where if the file already had been processed once, you could just drop files in a bucket, and then it would know if it had been processed once. Then go ahead and process only the newer files. But that wouldn't solve your issue when it comes to the file 1 and 2 to drop and replace. That's the thing about it. Yeah, but only using one bucket. File 2 replaces file 1, and automatically the Redshift data also changes. So it does. And so again, if we go down the path of creating external tables, you're right. That is how that would work. I'm just not sure that is is that the path that you're trying to do though? Like, are you trying to have it where as you drop in a new file, and let's say in bucket A, like let's say you drop in file 2 in bucket A, are you going to manually delete file 1 in bucket A as well? Because if you do that, then yeah, in theory, then you're right. That will work. But I'm trying to think, man. I don't know if we create an external table. Let me check real quick. And maybe we can. I'm just trying to think. I have never had a need to create an external table and tie it to multiple buckets. So that's what I'm trying to see here. So we have the locations, right, that we're specifying. Then we have the location. So let's play around with that real quick. Let's see. So what I'm gonna do? Let me. Let me see. Yeah, I need my other keyboard because man, so I have a USB switch to switch my keyboards from my streaming to my other PC. But man, I don't know. It just there's a small delay and it kind of sucks. And then for some reason, my keyboard seems to not always doesn't do it all the time. But it almost seems like when I do it, sometimes it doesn't quite register back for some reason. So I have to like literally disconnect it and then reconnect it. It's very strange. Not sure why it does that. Okay, so let's see. Alright, so let me try something out real quick. I'll do this. I guess I'll do it under staging for now. Let me see. What are our files? How do our files look here? So we're dealing with. So this will pretty much be our schema, right? That we're dealing here. It would be cells. Then it would be category. And then it would be months. Number. So I don't have a bucket. I guess that's create a location for this, right? So let's go to. I'm gonna go to this bucket. This is not the right bucket. My bad. This bucket, staging. Let me create a new folder. I'm gonna call this cells. And let me go ahead and drop just one. I guess I don't need to drop both. All right, cool. Oh damn, what's my bucket name? So it is called YouTube storage 10045 staging sales. All right, so that's the name of that. Let's see. Let me look at the, because we're dealing with a CSV file here. So file format. Let's see where. Row format delimited, row formatted. A clause that specifies the format of the idea, blah blah blah. Okay, got it. Which is fine. Okay. That's what it is. All right. So in this case, it would be we'll be dealing with text file because we're dealing with, that's pretty much, we're dealing with a CSV file, right? So we're gonna be dealing with a text file format type. So let's see, if the path specifies a manifile argument. Okay, cool. So location. All right, so we can specify multiple locations, which is actually what we want in our case. So let's go ahead and create the other location. I know I called it, well, what did I call it? Called it sales. But let's create another folder. We're gonna call this sales 2. Right? So sales 2 is gonna have file 3 and file 4. So let's get that dropped in here. Upload. Cool. All right, so that's in there. All right, let me go ahead and change. There it goes. So let's see. All right, so it'll be a pipe delimited to add multiple paths. So in this case, it would be, oops. The other bucket would be, what do we call it? YouTube storage 10045 staging sales 2. All right, cool. So now that we have those two specified, where's my delimiter? pretty sure I'm gonna need to specify that. We're not skipping row header line count. Let's see. Okay, so let's see if this. Oh, damn. Okay, cool. Now let me run it again. Nope. What happened? I'm getting an error message back. Let me see, why am I getting an error message? Location. All it says error near syntax, but damn, I don't see an error. I'm trying to figure out where my error coming from. Dude, this should not be an issue. Do I have text file? I do, text file. Yep. So that's fine. Oh man, hold up. I think I see what. Let me see. Create external table. Oh, okay. All right. So I think I see what it is. I see what it is. So let's. What am I missing, man? I feel like I'm missing something. I'm trying to figure out what the hell I'm missing now. I know I'm missing something. Um, so I think in this case it would be from our data catalog. Let's see. I'm trying to see why I'm having this issue, but let's see. Okay, so let me try. Let me see something real quick. Uh, okay, so let's try this. So I'm gonna try something out real quick and let's see if this works. Let me open up a new tab. So let me go back. Let me see what is my data catalog. If I go to glue database. So it's gonna be this. I'm gonna call it Project 2. That's the name of my database that I have right now over here. So it's Project. I mean, it's a terrible name, but nevertheless, that's what it is right now. Project 2. I don't think I need this. And let me run this, see what I get. Oh, I do need to specify my IAM row. So the approach that I'm taking here, because this should work, is going to be I created 2 folders. I called it sales 2, right? Sales 1 has file 1 or file 2, one or the other, and then it would only have one file. Sales 2 has these 2 files, and ultimately I'm creating a external table where we'll be able to just query directly from these files, right? So we're not going to load anything directly to Redshift, but I'm going to create external tables that ultimately are going to be linked to these 2 folders, and then you'll be able to query it from these folders. Now, the assumption here on sales folder is when we, let's say if file 2 needs to be utilized, well, file 1 needs to be deleted, and then file 2 will get uploaded, right? So they kind of replace each other. And of course, for cells 2, it would be the opposite. Nothing will get deleted, just new files will get added. As new files are added, it'll all be, in that one external table. So that's the approach that I'm taking for this. So I need to go to my IAM row, and I need to get my information for that so I could create my external schema. So let's look at my rows. I think it's this guy. This is the one I've been using. Does it have Redshift access? It does. So which is this guy? Okay, so let me put that in here for my IAM row. So it would be IAM row. Which was what? 33620939295 row. Then of course my name. So in this case it's called AWS glue service row job service. Alright, so now let me run this. What happened? The request row is not associated with to cluster. Let me see what. Okay, so now I need to go back and check my Redshift, see which row is being utilized here. You can associate up to X amount of IAM rows. Okay, so let me associate. Is this the only one that I have to associate? Okay, so it would be this guy. Service row for Redshift. Alright, so that's the one I'm going to have to... Let me go find this one. Service row for Redshift. And alright, so I'm going to need this name here. Alright, so now let me try this. Damn, okay, so what error am I getting now? This is saying is not authorized to perform glue create database or resource to glue because the identity policy to create database actions error. Alright, so I think I know what it is. So now let me go back. It doesn't, that row doesn't have, I probably should use the other row. but that's fine. That's the one that I assigned. So this row here, the one that I just there you go. This row, I want to have to add some policies to it. So hold up, what am I missing here? Let me go to the one that I initially had, this guy. Oh, no wonder this is linked to service linked row. Unique service row with permissions predefined by the link server. No wonder I cannot modify it. So what service do I have here? Amazon Redshift service link row policy, which has a few things in here, but none of it relates to glue, which is why it doesn't work. Okay, so now let me go back to my Redshift. I'm trying to think why it's only showing one. So I can't modify it because it's linked. So let me look at the row that I've been using, which is this guy. Let me look at some of these other permissions related to Redshift. Oops. Damn, wasn't trying to click on that. So this is relating to this other. Let's see. Let me go back to it. So it's saying, just want to make sure it's not authorized to perform glue create database on resource catalog because no identity-based policies allowed. And this goes back to that. So let me see if I can go back to what I had initially. Can I do an undo? Maybe there's not an undo. Let's check. Oops. No, there's not. So let me put, which one was it? I think it was this guy here. Let me switch on over. So what is this? 33. Hold on, this is right. Is this right or no? 3360 392952. Okay, so that is right, but the name, I need to change my name. The name here would be service row AWS glue service row job service. Let me see what error message was I getting here. It's the request row is not associated to cluster. Okay, which makes sense. So I do get that. So now I need to go back and see, okay, let's see why. So now let me go back to, where's my Redshift at? Oh, this is it. So let me remove the, nope. How do I, no, let me hit refresh. Let's see, can I remove this? Clear, won't clear it out. Oh, there goes remove. Alright, so it's removing associate. Let's see, can we create a new IAM row? Create a new IAM row as a default for this cluster for all commands, full access policy attached. Which policy is this? Let me take a look at this. This policy includes permissions to run SQL commands, to copy, upload, unload, glue. Okay. So let me go to my policy. What is this called again? Full access. Let's see if I can find this in my IAM row, which is this guy. So let's go to add. Let's look at policies. There it goes. It is in here. Okay, I did not see this earlier. So let's go ahead and add this to it. Now I want to see. Nope. Let me hit refresh. Let me add IAM row. Why is it not showing the other one? I'm trying to figure out why it's only showing one, which is kind of strange. Let me look at create. Specify an S3 bucket for the IAM row to access. Any S3 bucket. Allow users to have access to your Redshift cluster specific buckets. So let's say, let's pick a bucket. In this case, we're dealing with this bucket here. So it will be this bucket. Let's create IAM row. Okay, and it got added. Let's go to the IAM row. And okay, so now let me try this one. Okay, cool. Let's see if this one works. It should, but let me confirm. Okay, so now let's see. Damn it, what? It says it's not authorized to perform glue create database on resources. Okay, so now let me go back. Since this is not linked to anything, I should be able to add some resources. And I think this is going to be the glue resources that I need. Let's see. What did I have? I probably could add the service row here, so make sure to have all the rights that has. So let me do it that way. That'll be easier. Okay, so now that I have that added, let me go back. So I'm getting an error message saying that IAM row is not authorized to perform glue create database on resource glue US West 2 because no identity based policy allows the glue create action. Let me see. What am I missing here? So let's see if this fixes it. I don't know if it's going to fix it or not, but let's see. If I go to what do I have here? Redshift. So let me add another one. Oops. So let me see. Let me make some changes and see if this solves for it. Visual. That's not what I want. Damn it. So it'll be effects allowed. Then we could do, in this case, would be action. IAM create row oops. Then under resource star. So let me update policy. Failed to update trusted policy. Did it give me a message? Why? Let me see. What up, Random? What up, man? Just trying to figure out some stuff. Kind of got stuck here on some policies for AWS. We should make some. Hey, man. So I ordered myself that Master Chef shirt. The logo that I put together, the artwork. I should be getting it on the 22nd. So probably by whenever I stream next Friday, I may wear that shirt. Y'all can take a look at it. But yeah, I found somebody that's able to do it, and it's a print on demand as well kind of model. Um, it's not too bad either. I think it would be like the actual cost in ways for everything. I think like $15 maybe to ship and print. So of course, if I sell it, we'll have to sell it for a little bit more than that, but still not too bad. Hey Sam, gotta wear it. Yeah, man, I am, man. Once I get it, I'm gonna be wearing that bad boy for sure. And but but I do want to test it out first to make sure that the quality's good. All of that stuff is good. Make sure it prints out good, right, on the shirt. Everything, I don't need to make it bigger, none of that stuff. But man, I think if everything's good, then yeah. I'm gonna use that company. Well, they process it, but I still had to set up some kind of storefront, like a Shopify store or something. But that's not a big deal. I'll probably slap something together, basic, and put it for sale. Or what I may doing is just do a small order, right? Maybe order like 12, right? Worst case, if it doesn't sell, I just give it out free on my stream or something. But if it sells, then what I may do is just go ahead and do a print on demand and set up a Shopify store. Damn it, man. I'm trying to see. So this is not going to be it. So let me cancel this. So pretty much the error message that I'm getting here is, let me see, where's my, it says, is not authorized to perform glue create database on resource. I'm trying to think why, man. And everything that I have should be on US. I mean, I don't think it matters, but it should be all for US West anyways. But let me make sure that it's not specifying. Okay, so S3, that's fine. Then I got this one, which is, oh damn, this is not it. What the hell? This only has S3 get input resources. Dude, okay, so what do we have here? So this is not it, man. I picked the wrong one. No wonder. Let me go and attach some other resources, glue related. All right, man. I'm back in finally at our cabin to put in the dogs. Cool, man. I'll be on later, man. Later on after this stream, so probably around like 11:30. I'll be on, and I'm gonna be doing some gaming. Probably some Call of Duty, man. Gotta get ready, and I'm gonna try to get the beta version of Warzone 2. So I think that releases on PC in the next couple of days or so. So I'm gonna try to see what I could do to get a hold of that. I don't know if you saw the the release yesterday. They showed Nadia on the live stream, and dude, she'll get her butt kicked like big time. Um, of course, everybody's like, well, she's getting her butt kicked because she doesn't have her cheats now. She doesn't have all her, she's not able to cheat, pretty much. But yeah, it did not look good, man. That's for sure. Um, hmm. Let's see, glue. There it goes. Why did it not show this earlier, man? Maybe I didn't hit enter. So let's look at our glue services. Glue, S3 bucket, EC2. What else do I have on here? There goes Git, AWS glue, crawler. All right, catalog. This should do it, I think. Yeah, let's try this. I'm gonna add these permissions. So let's attach these permissions. The channel name is Gaming with Lou. You do live stream gaming and YouTube as well. So I do. It's on a different channel. Yeah, Random mentioned it. It's Gaming with Lou. So I have two YouTube channels, but I do it on Twitch as well. So it's either you could watch me on YouTube, which is a different channel, or on Twitch. On Twitch, it's I am the real Lou. So whenever I do some gaming, that's kind of I do my streaming on those two channels. Then of course my programming is strictly more, technical, like the way we're doing it now. Random, so Random's on here right now. He kind of mentioned he's my mod for my gaming YouTube channel, so he kind of helps to make sure that just kind of monitors and make sure everything's nice and clean in there. We don't have no trolls coming by. Oh, talking about troll. Oh, there it goes. Finally worked. It worked. It created. Did it create it? Yes, it did. Finally, man. That's what it was. That's what it was. All right, cool. Whew. All right, so now that the schema has been created, now let me go back to let me create the external table. Let's see if this works or not. All right, let me check something out over here. Let me go back. Yeah, man. So last week I got trolled on Twitch. Somebody was sending me like messages nonstop. Like I was getting pretty much spam on Xbox. Damn it. What is it called? Xbox. The Xbox chat. Game bar. The Xbox game bar. They're sending me invites like, "Hey, come join our match." And then, but it was like bam, bam, nonstop. And of course, I don't know why I had the messaging set up so whenever I was streaming, it actually pops up on the screen like, "Oh, somebody invited you to join." It was like nonstop, dude. It was like it just wouldn't stop. So I had to go in and disable notifications, which should have done anyways, so it doesn't pop up. And then he started sending me some messages on Xbox. Pretty much he was just trolling. He must have been on the live stream because as soon as we, Izal actually saw him, saw like, "Hey, I see the guy," because I told him the username. He saw him on the stream, so he ended up banning him off the stream. Pretty much he got kicked out. But yeah, that was interesting, man. Dealing with that last week. Let's see. Okay, so we got the schema created. What was I gonna do? I was gonna do something. Let me go to my glue. Was he on YouTube or Twitch? Twitch. He was on Twitch. Yeah. Let me look at my connectors real quick. So yep, no, that's makes sense. I have that on here. Okay. So let's see. So we have that connected. So now let's deal with this external tables. So you have mods on this channel, right? You talking about on my programming channel, YouTube programming? For YouTube programming, I do not. Don't really get hit too much, at least not with trolls on live streams, because it's a little bit different, right? I don't like stream all the time on this channel, just on Fridays. But I do get messages like spam stuff every once in a while on my comments on my video, where again, like some of the messages that I have got, I don't even know what language it is. It's a foreign language because it's not English. But you know it's not appropriate either because you see the words OF and then 18, right? So like, all right, dude, I don't even like, even though I don't know what they're saying. I know that whatever it is, it's not good. So in those cases, I have to go and delete those comments, get them removed. So let's see. Um, so let's see. Man, what am I missing here, man? I feel like I'm missing something. Exactly. Hey Lou, sorry, quick question. We can do in the end also, but can you show a quick example of adding S3 triggers in Lambda functions? It seems AWS made changes in Lambda. Yeah, for sure. So let me go ahead and show that real quick. So we could have triggers set up on a bucket. So let me just kind of I actually have one set up, man. Which one did I set up? But I guess let's walk through one. Let's go to staging. Let's say sales, right? That's a good example. This folder here. So if I'm inside the sales, if we go to properties, oh, you know what? My bad. We need to go to the bucket. So go to the bucket. We're gonna go to properties, and then if I go all the way down, there would be, where is it at? There go event notification. So under this event notification, we could create an event, and let's go ahead and create event. Let's say we call this trigger on new file loaded. So pretty much when a new file gets dropped, it triggers, it generates a trigger. And then this is where we specify the path. So let's say, for example, let me open this up in a new tab. We only want to apply this trigger for staging, sales. Yep, these two, staging and sales. So pretty much we have to copy that prefix, right? That's our prefix here. So make sure to set your prefix, because if you don't, it's going to be applying it to anything in your bucket, and that's not what we want. And then you can specify file types, right? So if you're dealing with different files, CSV, JSON, a mix of different files, you can specify it. But if not, yeah, leave it blank, right? It'll apply this to any file. And then if we go down, this is where we could create the event type. So let's say we're doing based on all created objects. So pretty much anything that gets created in your bucket in that folder, it'll execute the trigger. Yeah, those damn bots suck. YouTube needs to do something about that. Yeah, no, for sure, man. Yeah, I mean, it's obvious too that these are bots. These are not people. At least I don't think, right? Who knows? Maybe they are. But so under the all object create events, you could do it based on that, or you could be more specific based on puts, posts, copies, or whatever. But ultimately, this one is going to do anything that gets created in that folder is going to execute the trigger pretty much. You could also do it on deletion, but again, this case makes more sense on creation. But then if we go all the way down, assuming that that's what you want to do it based on creation anyways, we go all the way down, see where we have this destination function, which is lambda, right? So if you have a lambda function created, this is where we would choose a lambda function from the dropdown. So right now I have a few. I have these 3 lambda functions. So of course you would specify whatever lambda function you want to run. So let's say it's a, I don't know, run customer glue job or whatever, right? Let's say that's what it is. Boom, you would select that, hit save, and that's it, you're done. So by doing it this way, and this is, I like this approach because, as files get dropped in, you could have it to become trigger based to execute something. So if you create a AWS glue job, you could have that scheduled to say, hey, run whenever you run. I believe there is a way to on glue where it could be triggered when files get dropped in here. But I think your case, what you were asking for was lambda, S3, and trigger, right? So this is the way you would ultimately have it triggered, where when a file gets dropped in, it would trigger this lambda function, whatever that function is. And then, so like that, your jobs know when to run when files are dropped into that folder. So hopefully this kind of answers that question that you were seeking. And here's the thing, this piece here that they have here, I don't think it was always here. I mean, I don't think it's brand new, but it's not something that's been here forever either. It is, I guess, I don't know, semi-newish, I guess, but it has not been here forever. It is semi-new. And in YouTube Shorts, there's bot spam channels that just promote. Yeah, there's a lot of that. That happens a lot. Like on TikTok, man, I get all kinds of people hitting me up. Not even from a spamming, more from a followers. And I could tell, like, dude, these are bots. These are not real people. Like I get, hey, this person following you, this person following you, and then I go and take a look at it, like, yeah, it looks kind of sus. And then, of course, on some of them, just kind of out of curiosity, I picked the profile. They have no videos, but they follow, like, I don't know, hundreds or thousands of people. Like, what? Yeah, I don't know, man. It's strange. But yeah, man, hopefully this answers your question related to setting up the trigger. I tried inside Lambda, but it says unable to validate the following destination configuration. So when you say you tried inside Lambda, what do you mean? Like you try setting a trigger in Lambda, or you set a trigger on S3 side to call a Lambda function, and you got that message? Because I guess let me go to Lambda. I could open up Lambda real quick. So I have 3 that I was just playing around with. Just let me just click on one. Shouldn't matter. So let's go to configuration, triggers. So of course we could add triggers in here. So I'm assuming this, you're saying you came this way, maybe like S3. Event type, select the event that you would want to trigger the Lambda function. Okay, which in this case would be same concept. So this is technically the same, but just doing it in reverse order. But it's the same thing though. At the end of the day, um, open lambda function, add trigger there as S3. Yep. And when I hit save, it says unable to validate the following destination configuration. Well, I guess let me try it real quick on my side to see if I'm getting anything similar to what you're getting. Let's see. Let me copy this. Where's my bucket? Let me select my bucket. Oops, wrong bucket. Alright, so that's my bucket. Event type on all creations. Yep. Acknowledge. S3. Let me hit add. See if I get that error message. So in my case, I did not get that error message. Everything was fine. The trigger was successfully added to the function. Function is now receiving events from the trigger, which does execute this guy. I'm trying to. So what kind of message were you getting? Unable to validate the following destination configuration. Is it providing any other details besides that, or is that the only thing that you're getting back? I did the exact same thing. I'm trying to let's see. I'm trying to think. Let's look at permissions. So it may be permissions related. That's the only thing I could think of. So see how I have my policy statement, but I'm trying to think if this was because of what I just did right now or not. See, like this is specifying that bucket. I guess let me try a different bucket, see if I get that error message. No, this is based on, yeah, let me, yesterday it was working, today getting this shitty error, unable to validate configuration. Okay, so it did work, it seems like, but now it doesn't work. Let me add another trigger real quick, but I want to specify a different bucket. So let's specify this guy. On creation, let me acknowledge, add. Yep, so that added it to no issues. Yep, there it goes. So we added the resource policy to it. I'm wondering, I mean, if it worked, then it shouldn't be an issue. The only thing I could think of, can you confirm, are you providing any prefix to your trigger? Right, like if I were to expand this, like I have a prefix of staging cells. Make sure that your prefix is right. That's not spelled incorrectly or anything like that. That's not what I wanted. Like, let me try to modify one real quick. And I'm just kind of curious, if I put the wrong prefix, would it still take it? Damn, it did take it. Okay, well, never mind. I don't think that's okay. Let me delete these two real quick. Let me create another trigger. Alright, so let's go to the same bucket. I'm gonna just add some kind of gibberish for prefix. Acknowledge. Nope, it took it, so that's not it. Let me look at the bucket. I don't think I have any permissions that would prevent, like, let me see what permissions show. Yeah, that shouldn't matter though. I don't know, man. That is, yes, provided prefix. I have created 20 Lambda functions with S3 triggers, but today I created a new folder in existing S3 bucket, but Lambda cannot trigger. Oh, okay. So it sounds like you do have, um, in the past when you created triggers, it was not an issue, but it seems like because you created a new folder. Let's look at some of the permissions in some of these folders. I'm just kind of wondering if there's something that may be set from a permission standpoint. Let's see. No, all the permissions will be on a. It will be on the bucket level. Permissions overview. Yeah, that is strange, man. That is real strange. That I'm not sure why. If it takes other folders, but it's not taking your newer folder that you have. I'm trying to think if there's some kind of logic, like way to prevent certain folders, but I don't see that being even an option. So yeah, I don't think that's the case. Is it dependent on SNS? Are you talking about is yours or are you talking about my stuff? Because my stuff is not. I mean, I guess the question would probably be, like, I don't have anything because I don't. Again, at least I don't. I have not done any work on this to do any testing, anyways. I know what it is. I'm familiar with it, but um, so this is just a messaging services, right? To push notifications and um, I guess do y'all have something like that? I guess I'm wondering if you and your company, if that folder is tied to SNS service and there's messaging being dropped into that folder. But I don't know why that would cause issues on setting a trigger. I mean, the only thing I could think of is unless AWS know, like, hey, if you're gonna be using this as a queue, to manage communications, messaging, your trigger will be going off like crazy, nonstop because of all the messages. So, I mean, that's the only thing I could think of, anyways. But that really doesn't make sense, though. Um, I mean, I would assume it makes sense to be able to link it to Lambda to be able to trigger it, right? I mean, including SQSQs, Lambda functions, blah blah blah. Yeah, and that's totally makes sense, right? To use it with these services. So, man, I'm not sure, man. That I'm not sure. When you were adding triggers by method one, so you're talking about the S3 bucket method, right? So whenever you added, I guess let me go ahead and finish it. Let me add it this way, which I checked everything off. Let's do this test file, save changes. Okay, let's see what we get. S3 has detected changes in the configuration. If you change to update, You may be overriding changes. So I think because I already saved the trigger, maybe that's what it is. I already had a trigger set, which is fine. But again, it does save. So if you try to do it through S3, do you get the same error message, different error message, or have you tried it to go under your S3 bucket under permissions and go ahead and configure event notification? I'm just kind of curious. Try that and see if you're able to set it, and also see if there's any other configurations in your bucket that maybe wouldn't. Like, I don't see nothing that would lock it. Hmm. So on my side, it works both ways, right? If I set the trigger through S3 bucket, or if I go to Lambda and set a trigger that way, it works fine. I don't have an issue. Anyway, we go back to Redshift. We'll try by your method one. Okay, yeah. See if that works or not. Again, I would assume it's not gonna work because it should be the same thing. But yeah, that's strange, man. If it's not working, especially if you're able to find the bucket in the drop down list. So yeah, that is strange. All right, so let's go back. What were we doing? Let's see, external table. That's what it was. So let's see. So let's see. Okay, so I do have. I think I have everything right. Let me check to see what I have. Where's my query at? So I do have create external table. And then what did I call my schema? Okay, so I did call it that. That's fine. There it goes. I see it now. All right, cool. So what I need to do here is let me specify. Oops. Dev. Oh, I think I know what the issue is. Damn it. Okay, I see what's happening here. So alright, so I think the issue I have is related to location. Why is this not working off location? Okay, let me go back and I could show it on my screen real quick what I'm doing. So if I go to Redshift, let me go to my query editor. There it goes. So the first thing I did, which was this here, I created a schema. Spectrum schema is what I called it, and it's linked to my data catalog, which is in Glue, and this is a database that is part of the project too. So you have to link it to a database. You create, and then of course you got the IAM row, and that you got to specify IAM row that has access to Glue and Redshift and all of that. So that was a thing that we kind of got stuck on earlier, but got it straightened out. Okay, so now that so if I look under my dev database, I see Spectrum schema, right? This is a schema that I just created, which is this guy. What do I have? I have two tables in here. Okay, my bad. Yeah, that's right. That makes sense. We do have two tables. So these two tables are based on what's in what it's being pulled. Let me see something real quick. So I do want to check something now. So if I do select star from Spectrum schema product summary, but I think this is that coming from Redshift. So dev staging view product. Deserialize. Okay, so I think because man, we added other files to the database. So let me look at my bucket real quick. If I go to staging, so I have all these other files. I don't even remember what the right files were. Unloading. Let me go to my Glue now. So if I go to Glue. So like product summary, it's pointing to product summary. All right, so let's try that real quick. If I go to product summary, which one was a good file? I don't even remember no more out of all of these files. Which I don't think it's none of these. Let me delete these. So let me look at my not my schema, yeah, let me look at my table. These were the, all right, I probably have it somewhere on my download folder. When did we do that? What the hell? Let me see if I can find that file real quick. I want to try something out real quick. This would have been, there it goes. I think I have it. Sample data. That's what it was called. But I think we converted it to CSV. Now let me resave it. Oh, you know what? I'm looking at the wrong spot. That's why. It may be that I have it in my download folder. Or maybe not. That's fine. Let me go back. So let me resave this. Save as CSV. Come on, down Windows. All right, there it goes. Now let me go back to the bucket. Then I'm gonna drop it in here. There it goes. So see how now I have data in here in this folder. So what I did was I created a schema in Redshift that's linked to my AWS glue. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to crawler. Under crawler, I'm going to create a new crawler. We're going to call this sales 1. Let's click next. Hey, they actually changed the UI. I just thought about it. This looks different. The crawler UI looks different. Is your data already mapped in a glue table? No. Add data source S3 bucket. We're gonna find the bucket which is sales, and it's gonna be sales 1. This folder. What the hell? All right, there it goes. Crawl subfolders, which is fine. So you know what? I'm gonna do something different. Let me go back. This is the option. This is option below for. Let's see. This is option below for legacy crawler. Oh, there's an option for legacy crawler. Is that what you're saying? That's fine. We could go through the new process. That should be an issue. Hey, what's up, man? What's up? What's the name of your job title in your current job? Data engineer. No, I honestly, I'm a software, just a software developer. That's the only title I have. But I do a lot of different things, whether it be create web apps, create APIs. I work on integration projects, data pipelines, database, a lot of automation stuff where, modifying Excel files, reformatting, cross-referencing data sets, then ultimately spit out an extract of a formatted Excel file or CSV file, and then it gets uploaded to whatever system. So, yeah, man, I do a little bit of everything. Like, I don't know, it's good and it's bad, I guess. I say it's bad because you don't really become an expert at nothing, but you become, I guess, experienced or good at a lot of different things. So so one of the things that I was gonna do, and this I think would work out very very well, is going to be if I go back to my staging. You know how we created two folders here, right? We got sales, then we have sales 2. I think what makes sense in ways is if we had one folder, like for example, let's just say we call it sales, right? We call it sales, but inside here we have 2 folders, right? We're gonna have I don't know what we want to call the first set of files. We could call them set A, or let's do set. I don't think you could use hyphens or uppercase. So we'd use set. Just call it set A or set 1. Man, probably easier to understand. And then we'll create another folder. We'll call it set 2. All right. And here's the reason why. Because the way we're trying to do certain things, aka the Python guru, I don't know about that, man. I wouldn't call myself a Python guru. I'm still learning, just like the rest of us, right? So trying to get better day by day. But I think I've done enough Python where at least I have some experience on how to do certain things a bit faster now than before. So I'm going to put this file in set 1, right? So let's go ahead and move that over. And then now what I'm going to do, now all of these should be the same schema though, so you kind of keep that in mind. I go to cells 2. I want to move these files over to cells set 2. Right, and this has set 2 has that different logic where you're going to be adding files to it, right? So continually add files. Okay, so now what we're going to do though, we're going to create our crawler on sales folder only, because they all have the same schema, and this is where it's going to come in handy. Let me just kind of go back to it. So now if I go back to my crawler, we're going to say add data source. We're going to browse and select our folder, staging cells, right? We want the cells because we know cells contain 2 sets. But we want to be able to select cells because we want to crawl everything inside like those 2 folders. Or even in the future, you have other folders sets for different reasons. You know, you can separate it out. So we're going to do cells. Crawl all subfolders. Yep, that's what I want. Sample only subset. We could sample all of it, but if it's a massive file, then yeah, you could do sample subset. That should be fine. Hit next. So we gotta specify our IAM row. We got that. All right. Nope, we don't need that. That's fine. This is going to go under the project 2 database. That's where we want it to be. Table name prefix. So we could add a prefix to this. I don't know. We could call it this. What do we call the crawler? I guess we call it cells. Damn, I actually missed what we called it. Cells. Yeah, let me call it cells. So now let me go back. I don't think we need we don't need to add a prefix, but you can, right? You know, it's fine if you do. We do this on demand, which is fine. So now let's go ahead, create crawler, and let's run. We're gonna run this crawler now. Run. So this crawler is gonna end up creating a table. The table is going to get created under the project 2 database, and then we'll see it show up under the table section. What I'm wondering now is my girlfriend thinks every Friday night I am partying. She has no idea I'm building my skill set by meeting Lou on YouTube. No problem, man. Hey, trust me, man. Right now, you know, expanding your knowledge, learning, because that's kind of what you seem to be focused on, and doing that, dude, it's gonna pay off big time long term. It really is, right? You know, there's a lot of people right now that are more the opposite of, hey, it's Friday, I'm gonna go party, I'm gonna go clubbing, this and that. And again, they have the right to do that. But man, I will tell you right now, I have seen firsthand the ones that are more focused on expanding their knowledge and applying it and growing early on are the ones that are going to be way more successful later on. And when I say later, I don't mean in their 50s or 60s. I mean in their 30s, you know, even lower 40s. They're going to be in way better position financially, career-wise, all of that. Have more freedom, more flexibility, more control. So it's going to pay off for sure, man. It really is. So, okay, it's still going. We'll see how long this takes. Shouldn't take too long. There it goes. Boom. See how we got this new table now that popped up here? This cells. And that means, because if I go back, where's my glue at? Oh, it's not done yet, I guess. It's stopping. My bad. It is done. It's already stopping. But if I go to table, let me hit refresh. Boom, we have a sales table in here, right? So these three tables that we have here, if I go to my Redshift, we have three tables here that we could query. So now I could go in and query sales, and let's see what we get. Hopefully no errors. Let's see. Let's get some data back. Boom, we got some data back. So now we're able to query all of those files that we dropped in there. So kind of going back to your question, well, now let's see, what if we change files, right? So let's say file 1, we're going to delete. All right, so now we delete that, and we're gonna now upload file 2, because we're technically just replacing it with a new file. All right, so now that we've done that, if I go back to my query, and let me just take a quick snapshot just to make sure, so we kind of, make sure that the data is valid. All right, so got a snapshot of this. Now let me run this query again. So now if we were to compare the results to what we have in our query, you could tell the data is different. Like we have 100, 200, all that's fine. But see, look at this change. Instead of now being, what was it, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, it is 4,000, 5,000, 60,000. So it did replace the data set by literally just dropping the file, moving the file. And so I think from a process, right, from a logical standpoint, it literally would be as simple as, let me go to sales. We have 2 folders inside sales, because again, we created a crawler off of sales. Along as the schema is the same for both folders, which should be fine. But the logic here is you can manage. Set 2 could be where you just drop files. That's all you're doing, just drop files, nothing else. Set 1 would be where you actually, only keep the one that you want, right? Like I deleted file 1, replaced it with file 2. So now when you query, it's going to only include data from file 2, not file 1. Would you say why partition columns? What do you mean? Did the columns get split out? So we have 3 columns here, right? Sales, category, months. Oh, my bad. Partition columns. Oh, you know why? Okay. Partition column tells you where the source is coming from. So as you could tell, set 1, set 2. Right, so this tells you from the subfolders which source the data is coming from. So it's actually beneficial, to be honest with you. You don't have to use it in your queries. You don't need to, But it's beneficial if you ever have to reverse and look at something, you can know exactly where the source, where it's actually coming from. And that will kind of help out from that aspect of it for sure. So like in your case, if all the schemas formats the same, but you're gonna be dealing with different rules, like all right, well these folders, like this folder, we're gonna drop files and that's fine. We don't have to worry about it. But this other folder, we'll be doing a replace. If the name is the same, just drop it and it'll just override the existing file, or you gotta delete and add a new one. You know, that's an option anyways. But for sure, that'll give you the results that you want. And ultimately, we're just querying directly from the table. So just kind of go back to the first steps that I did. The very first steps that I have to do is create an external schema, and it's linked to my data catalog under Glue. And this is the database, which is project 2. So what this means, right, this project 2, if I go to my Glue, if I go to database, I have a database you call project 2. Well, now if I go to tables, these 3 tables here are part of this project 2 database, right? Whatever you call it. So going forward in the future, anytime that I create tables that belong to this project 2 database, they would automatically show up in your Spectrum schema. In this case, I call it Spectrum schema. And then under my table, you'll see all of those external tables, because that's really what it is. These are external tables, just start to show up one after another. So we use Redshift, Spectrum, then we use Glue for crawling. Can you give a quick overview, like a diagram of pipeline, what we did? Yeah, let's try to do something real quick. So let's see. Oops. The hell, why is this not working? All right, so for let me get a container. All right, cool. So we got a container. This container would be our S3 bucket, right? And inside this bucket, we're dealing with our cells. Cells folder. Let me make sure I did put in cells, right? Yeah, there you go. And then of course I have 2 different folders. Again, so the reason why I created 2 folders, and you don't have to create 2 folders. I created 2 folders because I think the logic that you had was one of the folders, I call it set 2, would be having file 3 and 4. Let me make it a little bit bigger. And because these would just be added on file, they just drop, right? That's what it sounds like. There'll be a new file that's adding on to that folder. Just drop in. Where set 1, it's more where it will be a drop and replace type deal. So that means that you either give it a generic name, drop it, or just delete it, and then of course download the newer file, whatever the newer file is. And of course, when you query, it's going to query the data. So whatever's in here is going to query. In theory, you could put them all in one folder. But if you're going to be doing stuff like that, where you need to have some logic, whether it be a command line interface, like AWS command line interface or something, you could write part of your automation. You're trying to automate some of the stuff, your script, to come to this prefix bucket and delete all the files in this folder. And then of course you have another process where you just drop the new file, right? So it makes it a lot easier if you do have separate folders, because then even if you're trying to automate some stuff, it becomes easier compared to if you have one file and you have all the folders in there. You could still pick a specific file if you want, and let's say remove it and then drop a new file. But you would have to know what file name it is and all of that. And if you don't have that information, it becomes more harder to manage. All right, man, I'm back. When you gonna stream on the game? I'm gonna stream at 11:30, man. So 11:30, I'll be on streaming. We're gonna wrap up here in a few minutes over what we did here. But yeah, man, I'll be on at 11:30. So probably another 20 minutes, man. I'll be on. All right, so let's kind of go back to flow. Let me see. So we have our S3 bucket, and then of course we have our sales folder, which ultimately would have two other folders in here that would feed. That's going to actually be feeding our So again, our crawler is based off of this this sales prefix folder, but we did a crawl on all objects inside this folder, including subfolders. So that's why any file that are in here is going to crawl that, and it's going to pull that data in and allow us to query it, right? Kind of what we're doing. So just kind of keep that in mind. But that's kind of what that's doing. So this is the starting point where we have this. Now if I go to, let's have a container, and this container would be our Redshift container. Inside this container we have what's called a external schema, right? So in Redshift we have schemas, which are I always call them physical because they're part of the database, like physically there, like in a digital manner, but they're physically there. But then we have what's called external schemas, because in reality all it is a pointer. It's pointing to an external source, which in this case you could point to another database. Like in Redshift, you could create a schema that's ultimately pointing to a Postgres database, for example, or a SQL Server database or whatever. And of course, you could query all of it together within Redshift. In our case, we're pointing it to our Glue data catalog, right? Which again, if I go back to Glue, we have our data catalog up here on top. Then we have a database. And then the database, which is, again, I call it Project 2. Again, terrible name, but at least, it makes sense. We have tables. Now, tables are created based on sources. Every table has a source, whether it be an S3 bucket, for example, as a source, whether it be, a database, whether it be whatever, right? It has some kind of source. So let me kind of go back. So that's where this, and under Redshift, we have this external schema that we have here, right? So another thing to add, let me add this up here to the top. We would have Glue. So inside Glue, we have database, and this external schema is linked. Think of it that way. It's linked to this database, right? So we had to create the schema in the database. So the way to create it, I still have a sample. This is how it looks. Create external schema, and then you got to specify whatever name. I call my Spectrum schema. You call it whatever you want. Doesn't have to be called that. You could just call it, whatever, right? And then from data catalog, because I'm pulling from AWS Glue. So it's data catalog. And then you got to specify which database in the data catalog. So in our case, it's Project 2. And then from here, you have to specify an IAM row that has access to Glue, Redshift, and S3. So it needs to have access to all of those services in order to link everything together. So just kind of keep that in mind. So you would have to figure out what that is, type it in, then that's what you would end up using. And then this bottom one you don't need, but it's just saying if it doesn't exist, create it type deal. Right? That's all it is. If external database, create if external database not exists. So if it already exists, it doesn't create it. But if it doesn't, it creates it. That's all it's doing. All right, so let me go back. So again, we have our database. External schema is linked to our database over here. Our database has, I mean, I guess our glue has a few deals, but let me make this a little bit bigger. There it goes. Okay. What I should have done here, let me remove this. I'm going to create another container inside this container, which would be for database. So this would actually be database, which again, in our case, we called it project 2. That's the name of it. This database has tables, right? So for example, this would be our table, whatever it is that we want to, whatever, you can have many tables, but I'm going to just call it table 1. Then of course table 2, table 3, etc. And I think in our example we have 3 tables total. And one of the tables that we have, I've just called it table 1 for now, but one of the tables that we have, it actually is part of this cells. So that this table that we have, right, it's a table object, but underneath it's pretty much linked to this cells prefix folder in our bucket, which this folder has subfolders. So it's actually crawling all the file that exists in here, whether it be file that exists under cells, set 1 or set 2. But it's pretty much crawling, like getting all the file that's part of those two. Now, because we're crawling subfolders, you could add logic to the subfolders, right? Kind of how I mentioned, if you're going to do some automation where you're going to have a script just dropping files into one folder, okay, you could have logic where you just drop it to set 2. And then set 1, you would have logic where you would run with some kind of command to delete the file first and then drop the new file, right? You could do that logic as well. So whatever you choose to do, but that kind of helps to automate. Or if you add new folders for different logic that you're going to be including, then you just create a new folder, and by default all of that would just kind of feed on to this table. And because it's part of this table, as we query this external schema is linked to this database, under external schema we would be able to see all of the tables, right? Like the table that we saw. So we'll be able to see the what did I call it, cells table. That was one of the tables. Oops, that was part of it. Another table that I had on there was product summary, right? And then there was a third one. I don't recall what the third one is, but either way, right, whatever tables you have, that's what it shows here in the database. But at the end of the day, these tables ultimately are linked to these tables over here. Again, I just call it the same thing. This is called cells, and then this is called product summary, and so on. But I mean, hopefully that makes sense a little bit more over how external schema links to this database pretty much. And then of course all of the objects in here, all of the tables in here would actually show up under the schema by default. Like just like, I don't know if you noticed, whenever I created that the crawler finish running, it automatically populated the cells table. And of course the cells table, is linked to all the files, brought in all the data files. So yeah, hopefully that makes sense, man. I'll make a video over it because I know we kind of went through a lot, and there was a few things we needed to I needed to figure out as well with like the permissions and all of that. But I'll make a video and we'll kind of walk through it, and I'll use your files as well that you provided, as an example. So, we'll kind of go through from beginning to end on what, setting up the folders, creating the schema and Redshift, the external schema, making sure the permissions, the IAM row has the right permissions for X, Y, and Z. And then ultimately just kind of then run the crawler, see how all of that works and how all of that, as you drop new files, you see the data show up to be able to query the files and so on. So I'll make a video related to that and kind of go into more detail step by step. And hopefully that could help you out for sure. So, awesome, man. Thanks for the productive Friday, Lou. You're the best. Oh, man. No worries, man. No worries. Again, man, I enjoy doing this, man. I always have fun on the live streams. It's always good. So, yeah, man. I enjoy them as well. So, all right, man. I think that's going to be it. I know we went past the normal time, 11, but that's fine. Man, it was a good Friday. Again, we solved some things. We got things working. And yeah, man, I think it worked out good. So I'll make a video, man. So I would expect the video probably sometime early to mid next week. So yeah, just kind of keep that in mind. Early to mid next week, I'm going to be releasing a few videos. So I'll make sure this is one of the videos that I end up doing. So yeah, you could expect it then, and you could look at it more closely then as well on certain things. But man, it was, again, like always, man, it's good. These live streams, I actually enjoy the live streams. I find joy in them anyways, so it worked out good. So again, guys, that's it. I'm gonna call it a night for my streaming programming stuff. So now I'm about to jump on my other streaming gaming stuff. So I'll be online another 8 minutes, 11:30. So I'll be doing that in a few. Again, guys, man, y'all have a good weekend. Y'all take care. And I'll be back on next week, man. So I'll talk to y'all then. Y'all take care. Peace. I appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. I really appreciate it. You take care, man. You have a good